Come on into the room. Come on into the room. Come on, family. Let's get this going. Let's have this very serious discussion. Just amongst us. Now, if y'all was watching yesterday, what happened? Like I was trying to invite friends, but I kept like when you invite friends, you click invite, and what I was doing, I was hitting finish, and then what they would finish my broadcast. So I know not to do that today. Another thing that happened, my video yesterday, um, my broadcast yesterday was like an hour and 20 something minutes. Facebook cut out like the entire hour of my shit. The entire last hour, Facebook cut it off. And my camera phone, I mean my computer camera, it doesn't save it on Facebook when I go on Facebook Live. Like if I do YouTube, then it save it. But not if I use it on Facebook. What up, Roderick? How you doing, family? Nice to hear from you. Nice to see you. How you been, bro? Man, if you ain't tried these new Taco Bell nuggets, man, you missing out something. You tried them? These bad boys are fire.
Daddy, do I have cheese on my face?
No, that's what a miracle.
I'm done.
Hey, you tried these new nuggets, bro? At Taco Bell? They cook them a little soft. I like crunchy. You know that lets me know my food is done. So I bring them home and I fry them a little bit more. They fire. And so today's discussion on breakfast with Blackness today. And so grab you a bite to eat, man. We ain't gonna be here long. You know, I ain't gonna keep you up long. You haven't, bro? You need to try them. I'm telling you, they fire too. They better than McDonald's and Wendy's. Taco Bell hit out the park with this one. You said hell no, like he was scared. Don't be scared, bro. It's only nuggets. I'm trying to see if my baby woke. I think my baby woke up. Nah, she cool. So, Roddick, you here, bro? Oh, yeah, my baby woke up. How you doing, Pookie Pie? How's my baby doing? Come here, baby cakes. Um, so, Roderick, you see the title of tonight's discussion, bro? Tell me what you think, bro. Do you think black people should forgive white people? Skin on fleek. Skin on fleek. You think white people deserve the forgiveness of black people considering she don't want that, bro. What we continue to go through and what we've been through, man, ever since we've been in their presence. Well, I for one
Yes.
don't. Forgiveness comes when somebody amends and corrects what they did wrong to you. Forgiveness doesn't come simply by you think it's the right and Christian thing to do. That's not where forgiveness comes from. In order to forgive somebody, the first thing they naturally and normally have to do is say, "I'm sorry, man." Let's say I cheat on my wife with someone. Hey, go, go, give me this. Y'all go and sit down. Go get y'all books. Go read.
Huh?
Go read the book.
Read the book?
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Why?
Because we have books worth ripping. We have books ripping.
Who ripped it?
Yeah, I didn't know it.
All right. Well, when I'm finished, we'll do some work. Yeah, like I was saying, forgiveness doesn't come to people. Like if I cheated on my wife and before I said I was sorry, or even before she confronted me about it, she said I forgive you. I would think she's gonna fucking kill me in the middle of the night because that's not normal. You don't forgive people who haven't even said they're sorry, hasn't even began to go towards the steps to correcting their wrongs. And when black people sit up here and forgive white people, like when the cops shoot black people down in the street, and you see their family on the news talking about "I forgive you," that comes from the whole slave mentality and Christian thing. It's funny how Christianity and the Bible, the parts of the Bible black people wanna recite has something to do with always forgiving and letting God take care of it. It never has nothing to do with retribution and seeking what's yours and demanding what's yours and fighting against oppression. It never has nothing to do with that, and that comes from slavery. The plantation slaves who was in charge of giving like Nat Turner, like in the movie, he was charged with giving the black slave a sermon, and in that sermon he told them obey their masters, be patient and forgive. And niggas to this day still going with that whole thing. They forgiving these white folks before they even said they were sorry. You got a whole lot of bed wenches out here who dating white men, and you got a whole lot of clown ass, coon ass niggas who dating white women. Not saying that makes you a clown or a coon because you date white people. I'm not in your bedroom and I don't know the emotional connection y'all have with them. That's fine and cool. But one thing I can say is that when I hear a black man say, "Yeah, we should forgive white people," and he married to a white woman, and he don't go into detail on why, you doing that? He doing that to make himself comfortable by being with that white woman. Or when a black female who dating a white man, she doing that to make herself comfortable by being with that white man. So she said, "Yeah, just forgive him. Fuck that." If I'm with a white woman, or if I'm with a white woman and I'm dating her, the way I feel about the oppression of my people should not change. And if that does change, then that's something wrong with my character. But I see that shit all the time, man. I see that shit all the time. All of a sudden, because you sleep with white mommy and white daddy, racism is over. Black people rely too much on sex to determine whether they are under oppression or not. Over and over and over throughout history, white people have showed black people like, yeah, I can sleep with you. But business is business, and the system of white supremacy is nothing but a business, and they invested into it whether they want to or not. I don't forgive anybody for any wrong that they did against my people or my if it was personal. If it's personal and it's a black person who did something to me or to my family, I'm not gonna forgive you until if it's that bad, I'm not gonna forgive you. But if it's shit white people did to us throughout history, ain't no that shit ain't forgivable. You don't forgive that shit. You don't go out and you don't cause harm unless it's necessary to defend yourself. But at the same time, you don't sit up there and forgive motherfuckers who torture. Okay, one thing I think black people fail to realize is that is what happened during slavery. Because when you hear slavery, you just think people having to work 18 hours a day. That's the only thing. That's what you think of. But you're not looking further and behind it to see the tragedies that happen. What you're not realizing is the fact that these people were kidnapped from one country, one continent, on the bottom of slave ships, chained to the bottom of these ships for over a month in shit, feces, vomit, and next to dead bodies. You don't comprehend that shit. You just think of a plantation shit. But it goes deeper than that. And I'm gonna break that shit down. Because then after I break this shit down to you, I want you to tell me if they even deserve respect. In the bottom of slave ships for over a month, laying in shit, feces, and dead bodies of people who were captured with you. And then when you got off those ships, still in those chains, they put your ass on a auction block. I don't care if it was a podium. I don't care if it was on the ground. I don't care on any way. Butt ass naked, and people who don't look like you just staring at you, putting a price out on how much you worth, touching the breasts of your women, touching the vaginas of your women, touching the penises of the men, like you're an animal. That's not even a half of it. That's fucking 15% of the trauma our people went through that still has not been corrected or apologized for. So after you on that slave block being humiliated, and if you get sold, they round your ass up and you make it to the plantation. Not to mention the horrible things that's probably happening to you or being said about you. You didn't even know English, so you wouldn't know what the fuck these white people were saying. The horrible thing they were doing to you on the way to the plantation. Oh no, let's go back. You and your baby was kidnapped. And your children, your entire family kidnapped. The horror and the trauma of simply being snatched away as a man from your family is good enough right there. It's worse enough right there. Destiny, that's worse enough right there. And so to have a mother's child, a baby, small, like this, snatched from her arms. Can you get she had a bottle right here somewhere. Can you get us some milk for me, please? Mm-hmm. To have a baby so small, or any age, I don't care. Huh?
You said she had a bottle around here.
Ask Salima or Laron. It's around here somewhere, because they were trying to give it to her, but she ain't want it. So a baby this size in your arms, snatched away from you and sold into fucking slavery. Can you imagine the trauma and the hurt and the pain and the emotions of not being able to do anything about it? Well, you could do something about it, but it'll be for naught. You surrounded by white people with guns. They wouldn't have done you no good. I have never been placed in such a situation now, and if it's under my control, by all means necessary, I will not be placed in that situation to where my kids will be snatched from my fucking arms and me not being able to do nothing about it. I mean, it's almost the same. That right there is trauma alone. Okay, and we haven't even made it off the slave block. And for those of you that just joined, this is Breakfast with Blackness, and we're talking about should white people be forgiven in 2017. And so, okay, so we from the slave ships, the horror and the trauma of the slave ships, to the auction block of being humiliated like you're a livestock, or animal, or some cattle, and then having your children and your wife snatched away from you. That's bad enough. And so then we go to the plantation. At the plantation, you got this white man talking to you. You got this white man talking to you, and you don't understand a word he's saying. You don't understand a goddamn word he's saying. But he's using gestures and he's pointing. And so you have to observe this white man obviously do gestures, giving you orders to do something after they just took your wife, your husband, and your kids. That's humiliation. The fact that y'all took my family as a man or a woman, and then I see you pointing and doing all this other shit that I don't understand, tells me like black people, we smart, we know what they were doing. They were trying to get us to do shit after they stole our kids. And so after they did that, we're on plantation, we don't know English. Second, then they point giving us shit to do. Cause they can't talk to us, they talk in English, but we don't know what the fuck they're saying, so they using gestures. But in the back of my mind, the entire time, I'm thinking, I was just on this motherfucking ship in shit next to a dead body, throwing up on myself, and when I got off that ship, I'm in chains, and you sold me, and I'm here now, you telling me to do some shit? The arrogance of white people. And that same arrogance back then during slavery is the same arrogance we see now. The right, they got their arrogance, so it's always been there, but it's showing its face now. Their arrogance is so strong now that the fact that they can have white police officers, any police officer, black police officer is no different from white police officer because they feel they need to prove something. But now the fact that they got the law enforcement killing black people, men, women, and children on video camera, and they justifying is no different from when they brought us up that slip and they brought us off them ships and they felt they had the right and the necessity and the God-given right to tell us to be slaves for them after they stole our fucking families and destroyed who the fuck we was. And then they want us to forget about it. You don't tell the Jews to forget about the Holocaust. You don't tell these fucking white people to forget reenacting the Civil War at these fucking clown-ass conventions. You don't tell white people to forget about Memorial Day. Huh? Forget about Memorial Day. Because that's about some past war shit. Well, darn, they don't forget that. Only time white people want to forget about history when it has something to do with black people. So, they go fuck themselves. I don't give a damn about how uncomfortable or how comfortable I make you. You go fuck yourself. I will never forget the trauma that you put my people through and that you still put my people through. How can a people who have been oppressed, whose water, like in Flint, Michigan, all over the country, lead poisoning in the water, black communities. You poison it in our water. You give us the worst educational system. You don't teach us our history in those educational systems. You imprison us disproportionately from our population in this country to make money off of us. That's slavery right there all over again. And then not only that, you have the right to shoot us in the middle of the fucking street with our hands up, our hands down, or we laying down on the ground. And you still get off, and you think they deserve fucking forgiveness? No. Fuck that. I'm not dependent and worried about white people liking me. That's one thing black people have to get over. We have to stop expecting and want white people to like us. Giving us pats on the head. I don't need to be friends with any white person if they don't understand the flight of my people and my passion against that, and that's the fact that their ancestors were responsible for it. If you white and you my friend and you don't understand that, then you ain't my friend to begin with, because then that's you denying history. And I don't fuck with stupid clown niggas who want to live in la la land. That's disrespectful to me. So if you want to deny history, that's automatic disrespect to me. And you can't be my friend, black, white, or otherwise. And so, all right, we still on the plantation. We just on the plantation. We haven't even got to 2017. So let's go back to the plantation. You make someone work 18 hours a day in all types of weather conditions, regardless of the weather conditions. 18 hours a day. In 18 hours, they're barely there to provide for their children who's not able to feed themselves. It's fuck feeding, breastfeeding. Niggas don't eat in slavery until the master said so. But the babies who was breastfeeding were neglected. But yeah, you see all these photos of these white women. And this was so crazy, bro. These white women with their white babies on the breasts of black women. Yet we're the animals. We're the unstable ones. We're the subhuman ones. Then why the fuck was your baby on the breasts of these black women then? Because they saw something in us that they themselves did not possess. For a white woman to agree to put her breast on a black slave woman who throughout history and throughout their time saw as subhuman and trusted her with that baby tells me that they saw something in us that to this day we only begin to see within ourselves. Humanity. White people know about black history. And when they play stupid, that's when they know even more. White people know about humanity. Those white slave wenches knew the fact that black babies grew up more intelligent than them white babies with that breast milk. They saw it. It's scientific studies. You can Google that shit. Look that shit up. Black babies are smarter at the same age as white kids. At 1 year old, a black baby is more advanced than a white child. And when they saw that, that's what made the white woman opt to agree to, yes, give my baby that life and that nutrition. Whatever you put into that black baby that makes him at 6 years old be able to work 18 hours a fucking day. I want that same mentality and work ethic in my son. Put him on her breast. So while that white baby is on that black woman's breast, that black baby is somewhere crying without a breast or no milk in his fucking body. And it's still a plantation, mind you. So the next thing is black men having to deal with the fact that they weren't allowed to get married. Black men and black women on the plantation were not allowed to get married. But they did it anyway. That's where you got the jumping of the broom. Jump over the broom and shit. Make it quick, make it secretive. And so black men had to deal with the fact of their wives being subjugated and molested by white slave owners. Black men today can't even deal with the fact of their women conversing with another man. Not even over the phone and voice, on social media. Imagine what our ancestors had to go through seeing that black woman coming out that white slave master's house. Knowing that she was sent there, requested there for sex, and sent back out to you. The fortitude and the strength that took for a black man to not blame her because she couldn't be that black woman could not be blamed for that. It's either you let your wife sleep with that white man or she will be killed. Some married some couples would say you ain't going in there. We both gonna die the fucking together, and that's honorable. And some would say you have to so that you can live and so we can continue to be together. And I understand that too. I have either way. It's not what we decided. It's the fact that we've been put in that position that's wrong. White people shouldn't be forgiven for that shit because they are fucking animals. Next thing, the whole study and science of gynecology was figured out, perfected on black women without without anesthesia. You got black women up here in the early creation of the science of gynecology being experimented on by white men who thought they was intelligent enough. You read these books and these articles and essays about black people back in the 17 and 1600s, and white people believe that black women, in particularly in this situation, had less feelings, less connection, less they felt less pain than white people. So that way, in their mind, they justify experimenting on black women to learn about the whole vaginal system, the uterus, cutting our sisters open, man, without pain medicine. Even with pain medicine, you don't experiment on somebody without permission. But what they did, you weren't human. You was an animal. Who cares? You don't feel pain. That's how they justified it to themselves by saying they don't feel pain like fucking fish. I remember hearing some fucking study saying that fish don't feel pain. I seen fish get killed. I'm allergic to fish, but I went before to a fish market with someone. I don't remember who it was. And I saw them kill the fish. And I said, that shit hurts. Only animals and beasts with no empathy can justify nothing living has pain. And white people do that shit all the time. That's why when black people sit up here and march and cry in the street, stop them. When white people sit up here and march and cry in the street, they oh, hey everybody who joined me. I'm sorry. I had a little window up and I couldn't see the comments. How you doing, Tracy? What's up, Tristan? Trenton, Denisha, Monique, Ashley, Polk. How you doing, sweetheart? Mike McSwiggan, what's up, bro? What up, bro? Ralph King. How everybody doing out there? Thank y'all for joining me. But one thing I'm gonna finish explaining is y'all made me lose my train of thought. I'm so happy to see y'all in here and joining me. One thing. What was I talking about? Y'all let me know. Where was I at? Oh yeah. White people and they lack and they use to justify hurting animals and people because they naturally have a less sense of empathy. And so they justify that by saying fish don't feel pain, black people don't feel pain. White people was pissed off that gorilla Harambe got killed to say that black kid life, that black child's life. They were pissed about that. But like a week or so later, when that alligator ate that fucking white baby, they ain't hesitate to cut that motherfucker open. Yeah. Only thing that has emotion and the physical connection is if it harms white people. If it has something to do with black people don't feel pain anyway. They like oppression. And black people, we don't. Nobody likes oppression. We're just so used to it that we normalize it. And what I realized, and I've come to understand, is that black people who get government EBT are less likely to protest and march to change the government. Because then that would mean no longer will you be getting EBT. That's the put this in the refrigerator. She got this one. That's the unspoken thing that's happening. A lot of black people who feel anger and frustration about the shit that's happening to our people are not going to go out there and march. And they can't afford to go out there and boycott. But what they would do, what they is dependent on the system running like it is. That's why you get so many coons. That's why you get so many black people not standing up and speaking out. But what you get is a lot of black people who choose to ignore. They feel the pain. They feel the brunt of oppression from white supremacy. But because they at least get food in their stomach through this EBT card, they have to be silent, or they want to be silent, because they haven't found it in themselves to be entrepreneurs, haven't found it in themselves to have a decent, I don't want to say job, because we far past the time of depending on white people to give us jobs. Yes, Monique, we are conditioned to be silenced by the government. Absolutely. We sure in the hell are. And it's only us who recognize that, who can begin to not be conditioned. Once you recognize your conditioning, you're not conditioned anymore. But it's like when you talk to somebody black, when I talk to black people and I speak about these things and they dismiss it, I don't criticize them and say, well, you're a dumbass. I look at their life. I see who they work for, white people. I see if they get government benefits from white people. I see if they're dating or married to a white person. Or I look and say, what do they want to be? And if you're a black person, if you want to be something other than what's against the grain, you're going to be working for white people. So black people, once we get past the fear of speaking out and telling white people real shit, white people are just like black people, Joe. They respect real shit. They respect real shit. They respect a Malcolm X more than they respected a Martin Luther King. Because they knew they couldn't throw fucking bricks and bottles at Malcolm X. But they can do that shit and spit in Martin Luther King's face. Not saying who's better than the other. I'm just telling you that's how it goes. You respect those who will not let you push over. And so when you see these coons on national TV, and the only thing these black people on national TV have to say is something negative about black people, trust me, they get less respect than me sitting right here right now talking about it. So, okay, we're talking about, for those of you that joined me, thank you for joining me. Today is Breakfast with Blackness, and we're talking about should white people be forgiven? I'm gonna start off, and I'm gonna tell you right now, if you watching and you see it and you missed some at the beginning, hell no, white people don't deserve to be forgiven by black people. Absolutely not. You may have thought this was a discussion that maybe they do, but no, not with me. I don't sit up here and waste my time and listen to discussions about how white people need to be forgiven. They don't. And I don't want to hear no shit about no white people saying, well, my ancestors didn't do it. My ancestor was slave. My ancestor came here after slavery. Well, you benefit from it. The fact that you're white, you benefit from a system that upholds your standard of living and your way of life and your very life in general higher than mine. And the fact that you don't recognize it and you refuse to recognize it means that you're benefiting to the point where you don't even want to change it. So fuck you too. Okay, so we on the plantation. Now we went from the ship to the beginning of the plantation, not knowing English. And then we went to the point to where black husbands had to see their black wives being raped by white men and being almost nobody's completely powerless. You can kill them. You can kill a motherfucker. You might die too, but if your heart in the right place and you got that much pride, like you should, you will risk death before you let your wife be raped. And then your wife, if she know you're gonna be killed, she's gonna put herself in a position so if they kill you, they're gonna have to kill her too, because they know after they kill you, they still gonna be raping her. That's how it goes. You're not gonna sit up here and rape my wife, and I have to look at my wife and forgive her. But come on, man, you know, we don't even like our women touching other guys, let alone having to be forced to allow them to be raped. No, but that's the trauma we had to go through. So moving on, and now we have to talk about the long work days. I mean, nowadays, brothers and sisters, we working 8 hour shifts, and we like, fuck, we tired as hell. Imagine working 18, 14, 16 a day, unless they gave you Christian holidays off. And that goes back to the fact that they gave black people Christianity in order to pacify them. In Africa, we didn't have Christianity. And it should be evident now that every black person who spits out some Christianity Bible bullshit is more mind control than a person who sits up here and talks the real truth. Because every black person who talks about Christianity always talks about fucking forgiveness. Get in here. Stop it. Every person who sits up here and they speak about forgiveness, they're Christian. Every black person. Now, at one point in my life, I was a Muslim, and in Islam, it teaches forgiveness, but what has to happen before forgiveness from somebody who wronged you is a sincere apology that you accept. And the fact that white people have yet to give us an apology for what they have done to us, they don't deserve forgiveness. But black Christian coon dumbass niggas who want to continue to believe this shit are still talking about they forgive white people when white people has not even asked for their forgiveness. How do you forgive somebody? They don't even want your forgiveness because they continue to do the shit they do to you. Only nigger talk, only that Christian bullshit put that into their head that you can forgive somebody before they apologize and corrected their wrongs. And so, but in Islam, it was a thing of there is absolutely nothing wrong with killing somebody who has wronged you. And that's why the Muslims in the Middle East who are going to war with America, quiet boy, close that door. Close the door. And that is why the Muslims in the Middle East have been fighting so fervently over almost 20 years. Since September, no, before that, but since September 11th. Because in their religion, it don't teach them to bow to oppression. Christianity does. At least the part of Christianity black people like to recite, and the part of Christianity that black people have received, and we still share amongst each other. In Islam, there is no such thing of honoring and respecting oppressors. Black people who go to the church and who spout forgiveness, even the black parents and the black mothers and children who set up here and forgave these cops for killing their kids, and then in the end, when the money possibility of them getting a payout come, they say, I forgive them. They are no worse than the black preachers in the slave days who told black slaves to suffer in silence. That your justice and your peace and serenity and calmness and righteousness will come in the afterlife. They're no different. I couldn't imagine sitting up here telling a police officer who killed any of my kids, not telling them, but insinuating in the media that I forgive them. I told my wife personally that if something ever happens to me, I'm not committing suicide. I'm not crazy, and I don't hate myself to the point to where I want to kill myself. I don't hate myself at all. I love myself because I have the brave. I'm brave enough to sit up here and share this information with my people, whether through the risk of death. I'm not going to kill myself. I want y'all to take that to heart and remember that if something happened to me. But I told my wife personally that if something happened to me, and I told my mother, I'm gonna tell her ass again because maybe she don't remember. It was a while ago. But I'm gonna tell her again. If something happens to me at the hand of a white supremacist suspect, whether he be police officer or citizen, that you ever get in front of those cameras and say you forgive them, because that just gives them justification to get off without going to prison. I don't care how much they pay you. I'm still gone. I'm still gone. They took your husband. They took the father of your kids. And that $1,000,000 is not gonna replace me as a man who takes care of his family. Now we can struggle and we can wonder where our next food is coming from, but goddamn it, I'm here with you. And we gonna do that shit together. And it only gonna last for a little bit. But if they take me away through oppression and this crazy ass system of white supremacy, there is no million, 3 million, 4 million, or $5 million that would ever make you forget that I was here with you through all of this. So those black people who set up there in the news media, like those people in Charleston, South Carolina, in that church, the relatives of those people who was killed by Dylan Roof in that church doing Bible studies, who came out a few days later talking about they forgive that crazy son of a bitch, that they forgive him. It's that Bible who got them thinking that stupid shit. It's that Bible that got people so afraid to seek retribution and what's owed to them. It's that Bible that keep us not necessarily in a physical form of slavery, but the most powerful form of slavery, which is mental slavery. Get out that fucking religious shit. We didn't have that bullshit before they kidnapped us and brought us to this continent, and we don't need it now that we're still here in their presence. Then you tell her to give it back. There's no need for crying about it. Tell her to give it back. Tell her I said give it back. So yeah, we didn't have that bullshit before we got here, and we definitely don't need it now that we're here still under a system of racism and white supremacy and oppression. Keep your damn Jesus. Fuck Jesus. Fuck Jesus. Jesus said up here, black people have this complex that Jesus came and he sacrificed himself. Well, goddamn it, I'm not putting my kids up to the altar of sacrifice for these white supremacist assholes. My kids will not be martyrs for you. My kids are being built and being taught to overcome the system of white supremacy for the betterment of the African people in this country. That's it. That's all. I don't care if they have to fight and do everything they can for the betterment and the uplifting of black people. They are not going to be sacrifices to these white people to make them feel comfortable and to spit Jesus shit to them. Every time black people have to go through a hard time, they quote Jesus or something in the Bible, but you don't never hear these white people saying anything about Jesus and the Bible when they was enslaving us, when they was lynching us and cutting off the penises of black men because they felt insecure about the prowess of black men. I have no sympathy for hurt. I have no sympathy for white people with hurt feelings based on what I say, friend or foe. Because if you my friend and you white, you should understand where I'm coming from. And if you don't understand where I'm coming from, then that's too bad, and I don't give a fuck. My message is always to my people. And my people understand better than you want to pretend like you don't. Okay, so we at the plantation. We still on the fucking plantation on if white people should be beginning. And I stopped at gynecology. And then I went to the whole how white women had they babies on the breasts of black women because the breast of the black women is the most natural thing on this earth. We are the first people here. And we like cockroaches. if Trump decides to go to war with Russia or whoever else, and every bomb drop on every single square inch of this earth, we're gonna be like the cockroaches. We're gonna be the only people who survive because that's how nature, that's how the universe intended us to be. That's why we were the first, and we definitely will be the last. And so not only did black people go through that stuff on the plantation, but then those black people on that plantation had to go with the scientific oppression. I've been told that they was nothing but animals. They were denied the right to read. They were denied the right to even know their ABCs. And that's why today in black culture, being intelligent in black society is called acting white. That's why. They wanna sit up here and say forget the past, but the past has everything to do with the present. There would never be a reason why black people would sit up here and say um, being educated is acting white. No, being educated is the most form and the highest form of acting black. We the first people here. We laid the foundation for the sciences, the arts, the biology, the medical field, even the law and the structure of government. That was us. And everything and every time foreign people come to Africa, they don't come to uplift or to cooperate. They come to oppress and to take. So take these L's that I'm spitting out tonight. No, this afternoon. Take these fucking L's. Because you may have a large percentage of my people around the world confused and in that goddamn Bible, but you don't have me and you don't have my family. That's why I respect LeVar Ball so much because he understands that he don't need a Nike deal. He don't need an Adidas or Under Armour deal. He gonna create his own brand of shoes with his own production. And that's what white people hate him so much. And that's why they demonize that brother so much in the media. And they tell him to back off his son so they can rape his fucking son. But he ain't gonna do it. And I respect him for it. And don't stay by your son. Because he understands that he knows what these white people are capable of when a member of a black society or a black member of the family has no protection. And there's no greater protection to a black family than a black man. So all you sisters out there going with this whole cliche and stupid idea that you don't need a man, goddamn it, you do. You just have to pick the right man to be the leader. There's a lot of nothing ass niggas out here. I grant you that. I give you that. But there are black men out here who it seems like that you avoid. You avoid the black nerd. You avoid the black guy who has a job at fucking Family Dollar. You avoid the black man who has a decent job at all. But what you tend to do, and you seem surprised about black females, that you when you get the thug or the drug dealer or the trap house artist, that when you have a baby, they disappear. You knew their character before you even laid down with them. Yet, because I understand you're looking for an alpha male, and an alpha male tends to be somebody who can be vicious and aggressive when he needs to be, and make that money whenever he has to. For black women, I want you to understand that these gangsters is not alpha males. They're beta males. An alpha male knows how to stay in line in order to get things done. An alpha male knows that nothing is worth his freedom. Because if a black man has a family, he's not going to do anything to jeopardize his freedom and his absence from his family. So those thugs out there who standing on the street, I don't give a fuck how many guns they got on their waistband. They are not alpha males. They're beta males in training to be black alpha males. All right, so now we still on the plantation. Now we got the educate the you couldn't the fact that you couldn't be educated on a plantation without risking death, your tongue cut out, your hands cut off, or being whipped to damn near you was dead. But then you also had to deal with the fact. Hold on. I know, baby case. Hold on. You also had to deal with the fact of just the psychological trauma it imposes on you by being a slave. by people who look nothing like you, and it wouldn't make it wouldn't make a difference if they looked just like you. But you have to deal with the fact that you are a slave with no say in your life. So let's move out the plantation now. Let's go into the release of slaves. Oh no, let's go back one more time. Let's go to the laws that was in place. There was a law that said that it's okay to kill your slave because lots of slave children were being killed on these plantations. And in order to escape accountability and taking criminal actions against these slave masters, they created laws saying that it's okay to kill your slave because it was these white women who was killing these black children with impunity on these on these slave plantations. These white women filled with hate that their babies was less developed at the same age as these slave babies. They killed them, their sick and twisted mindset. And so the United States government had to create laws to protect these white women who were killing these black babies on these plantations. Stop it. And so now you have to create laws so white people can kill black people with impunity. Then they released us. And then they released us without a drop in our fucking hat of a coin or even a silverback dollar. They released us with nothing when we built the entire country. We were promised 40 acres and a mule, and we got, stop it, we got mental oppression and incarceration oppression, and we got every other form of oppression upon our release from slavery. And you want to tell me that these white people deserve fucking forgiveness? No. They can go kiss some ass in Saudi Arabia, like Trump is right now. But don't come to the black community and expect us to kiss yours. At least not on my side of town. Okay, so now we enter into the age of Jim Crow at the release of black people, which said that black people should not be allowed to work amongst white people. So now I get out of slavery and I have all these skills and I'm used to working hard, but in order to protect the white people, they can't hire me because I'm more skilled than them because I was a slave. That's crazy. And then, so not only was Jim Crow, when we get the idea of Jim Crow, we think of can't eat at the lunch counter, can't go to the water fountain, and that we can do, all sorts of things where white people tend to congregate and go. But what you fail to understand is that Jim Crow was much more deeper than that. Jim Crow was the saying that a black man has no rights that a white man is bound to respect. Jim Crow was the fact that we can still lynch you and cut your penis off and bury you and burn you alive and then hang your burning barbecued ass body in that tree, and we can have a gathering and take postcard photos and nothing can happen to it. That if you are accused of anything that happened falsely to a white woman as a black man, we can break up into that courthouse, snatch your ass out that prison cell, and lynch you too. That's part of Jim Crow, not being able to eat at a fucking water fountain, but the fact to kill you with impunity. So don't let these white people who want to teach you history continue to tell you that Jim Crow was simply about black people not being able to eat at a lunch counter or swim in certain swimming pools or drink out of certain water fountains. Jim Crow had to be done away with because it allowed white people to kill black people with impunity through the federal government. I need to calm down, y'all. This shit gets me fired, gets my blood boiling. Give me 1 second. No. No. All right. I'm back, y'all. And so, but even more laws and representation placed in Jim Crow was the fact that black people were not allowed to get business loans to open up their business because they had the skills to do what they need to do, but they didn't have the funds from banks to open up their own business. There were a lot of black men out there who's very good at operating machinery of that time. There was a lot of black men out there who was very skilled at farming. But because of Jim Crow, they was allowed the necessary funds to open up their own business. And so when you have a situation like that, what you have is that black people were being oppressed and shut out of the job market, which continued to perpetuate their poverty. Black people were not allowed to live in certain areas or even be seen in certain areas. All right, so now let's move out of Jim Crow. And let's go to the Civil Rights Movement. The Civil Rights Era, I should say. And the Civil Rights Era, through white history, was about being able to sit at a lunch counter in a white-owned establishment and be served with dignity and respect. And according to white people, the Civil Rights Era was based on being able to drink from any water fountain you wanted. Hold on, let me focus this camera, family. The Civil Rights Era was about black people being able to drink from any water fountain they wanted, according to white people. It was the ability to shop at any store, clothing store, or car lot that wanted to. But in reality, they had absolutely, if anything, to do with the civil rights movement of the 50s and the 60s, and the civil rights movement that we are still fighting for today. The civil rights movement had everything to do with being treated like a human being in the country that we built, and requesting our reparations for the trauma and the horror and all the wealth this nation has gained on the blacks and black slaves. That's what the civil rights movement had to do. But in these stupid history books that's written by white people, they tell you it's about joining with white people. No, it was not. It was about getting what was owed to us, and treating us with dignity in the process of getting what was owed to us. And that goes to show you that should tell you that the fact that they killed the king of peace and justice, the king of every article of a respecting your oppressor, and every article that says obey your master, the king of all of that, the Bible, according to in black lore, was Martin Luther King Jr. The fact that they killed a man who wanted nothing but peace amongst the races, to join hands and to fulfill his dream that America is greater than its past, but its future can be as bright. To get out of that nightmare, but to go into the future of a fantasy, they still killed him. Because that was not his aim. That's what they wanted to show you, that his aim was just equality. His aim was justice and reparations and giving black people what they're owed and what they're due. And whenever white people has to be faced with the task of giving black people what they are owed, they tell you to forget about your history. Well, you should have told the Jews who get paid by America, who $10 billion a year, who had nothing to do with the Holocaust, to forget about it, or that you not owed this money. They can't afford to pay black people for what we did for this nation, because then that will be trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars that are still being reaped and benefits to these white families and these white conglomerate corporations to this day. We will bankrupt every bank in this world because everybody in every nation on this earth benefited from the slavery of black people, and they still do today in the Middle East. So that's why they don't want to pay you, because it will break their backs in the bank. And I don't give a fuck if it does. I don't care. I promise you, if it meant my total impoverishment to make white people feel the total impoverishment and oppression that my people have gone through for centuries all the way up until tomorrow, it's worth it. Burn all this shit up around the world until my people receive justice. How great. All right, I'm back, family. Facebook was trying to tell me my internet connection was slow. Like I said yesterday, I did over almost an hour and 30-minute video, and yet Facebook only posts 20 minutes of it. But that's cool and fine, because I got a lot to say that'll last you and me an entire lifetime for me to get off my mind. I can't sit back as a man and watch oppression occur and not say nothing about it and try to pretend to go along and get along. I had plenty of white friends in my life. Plenty of them. And they were good people, yeah. But that does not negate the fact of what's continuously happening to my people. I don't care about my white friends who don't agree with what I'm saying. Because if you agree with what I'm saying, then you weren't a friend to begin with. So you can go fuck yourself. Now, white people have the tendency to say, well, we had nothing in this day and time to do with slavery, so why don't you get over it? Well, the American government, they have absolutely nothing to do with the Holocaust, so we give them $10 billion a year. So go fuck yourself, too, about that. American history is always to be ignored when it has something to do with the plight of black people. Now they come out with these stupid ass rompers, these like onesies that are shorts and short pants and short sleeve rompers, because they're afraid. They know niggas like to be fashionable. They know niggas like to go with the latest trends. But what niggas don't understand is that this is a ruse and a ploy and a con to make you seem less threatening. Because a nigga in a romper is non-threatening to anybody. Black masculinity has always been the target of white society in this country. It's always been their fear to see a black man speak up. So you, whoever created those stupid ass rompers and who are trying to publicize and sell that shit to black men, like I said before, kick rocks, kiss my ass. And any black man out there you see wearing them stupid ass rompers, you need to smack him in his fucking forehead, and maybe a light bulb will turn on because it went pretty fucking dim. Now we back in the civil rights movement. The civil rights movement, like I said before, really quick, was not about sitting at lunch counters with white people, spending our money with white people, drinking water fountains the same as white people, shit in the same stalls and bathrooms as white people. It was about getting what was owed to us through the means of peace. And as you see, white people don't understand peace. So let's move out to civil rights era. Let's move on to the 80s, when they infused crack cocaine into the black neighborhood as a ploy to destroy the black community, therefore the black family, therefore the lives of black children. That was the whole point of creating crack cocaine and infusing that shit into the black community. That is war on any measuring stick that you want to use. If President Trump sent pounds and pounds and kilos and tons of crack cocaine to Russia, so his citizens can be strung out on that shit, they would see that as an act of war. But in black society, we don't see that as the act of war. We see that shit as a come up. So black men, come here. We see that as a come up for black men to make a dollar, not knowing that we are cannibalizing our own people. Come in. We are cannibalizing our own people with that garbage. And the fact that they legalize weed, don't be confused. Trust me. That marijuana is not the same marijuana you get from your local dealer. They're lacing that shit. Everything in white society moved towards war. Their economy, their political system, their educational system, their judicial system, their prison system, everything in white society moves for the perpetuation of white supremacy and war towards any non-white person on this earth. So that weed that they want to legalize, be very careful on how you use it and how much of it you use, if you need to be using that shit at all. Even the medical industry of white supremacy is used towards war. That's why black people hate going to the damn hospital. Okay, so now we in the 80s. Let's go to the 90s. And we see the fallout of the early 90s from the crack cocaine infusion into the black neighborhood. And what you saw in the early 90s is the rise of the Crips and the Bloods and all these other gangs who went to war with each other, and the masses of black bodies that was left in its wake. It was used as a tool for self-genocide, to oppress people and take out the economic capabilities of a people. And in order to replace that economic capability, you give them crack to sell, you give them guns to shoot, and you give them the means and make them feel like it's necessary for them to protect their little square on the map from anybody coming in who trying to take food out their kids' mouth. Family, that was all scripted. And then I remember being a kid and hearing my own mama say Bill Clinton was the first black president back then, before Obama was even known. She would say, I would hear her talking and discussing it. A lot of people, black people, discussing the fact that they saw Bill Clinton as the first black president because this coon, clown, dumb, ugly, cheating, criminal, warmongering ass bastard played a saxophone. Only niggers think that low of themselves, that when a white person come up and they know how to do the Dougie or play the saxophone or listen to a certain type of music, that they okay with us. But in this last election, we showed Hillary Clinton, bum ass, that black people are more awake now than ever. And you cannot scare us with the presidency of Donald Trump in order to vote for you. Because neither one of you bastards is talking about reparations and justice for black people. And we need to continue that march and that fight in this process during in the political system, to not vote for anybody, any candidate, regardless of the party, Democrat, Republican, Green, or Independent, for anybody who refuses to speak specifically on the needs and what they're willing to do for black people. Bernie Sanders was an asshole because when he was asked about reparations, he said he would not do it, and he don't think it was a good idea because it would be too divisive for the nation. Well, bastard, slavery was divisive for every black person on this earth. But that didn't stop you. And the fact that you don't even give a damn about black people, getting what's owed to them, tells me that you was not a candidate that needs to be president. And the fact that you weren't voted in was good. I like Trump because he's a dumbass and he's a white supremacist who tell you how he feel and he don't have a hand. I like my white supremacists that way. I like my white supremacists say, nigger, I don't like you. And if I could, I would ship all you black asses paid for vacation forever back to Africa. Thank you, Mr. Trump, because I like that honesty. I like to know where we stand. I don't want to live in a make-believe world where I think white people like me, or I think white people want to give me a job, or I think white people support me. I want to live in a world where white people come out their mouth and say, I don't want to give you a job, I don't like you, and I don't want to give you any opportunity, because then that way I can correct myself and get myself prepared to be an entrepreneur, provide for my family myself, and do whatever it is by any means necessary to reduce the effects of your white supremacist society upon me and my people. I'm sorry, I got a really good HD camera on my computer, and it's going to be really loud. So if it's too loud for you guys, please turn it down so you can hear the volume. This mic picks up a lot of things. It's really good. Spend like maybe $30 on it for a computer camera phone. It's pretty good. It's a Logitech, so I like that shit. So I can do my videos and stuff like that. But anyway, more importantly, that's the only reason I respect and like Trump, because he don't mince his words and he tell you who the fuck he don't like Mexicans. He want to build the wall, but what you have to ask, is that wall to keep people in or to keep people out? I think it's meant to serve both, because when this ethnic cleanses begin, they want to keep people out who will be allied to those they're cleansing, and to keep the people in who trying to escape it. You cannot have a society that needs to be made all white or mostly white again, and you plan on killing the colored people if they can get away. You need to keep them here in order to destroy them. That is what the wall is for. All right, so now we move from the early 90s into 2001, September 11th, the terrorist attacks. After the September 11th terrorist attack, which they had planned beforehand, because the laws that they written for after 9/11 was already being crafted and built and passed through Congress, so they knew something was going to happen. Gives the white supremacist society and government the right to spy on anybody that they deem an enemy of the state, foreign and domestic. And throughout the history of America, the number one target and the number one threat to this country has always been a black man. And so when you black men and you black women are out there trying to sell your fucking EBT cards on the internet with your dumb ass, that is a federal offense. Stop it. When you want to post pictures of you smoking illegal marijuana in a state that they know, because where you live is on your Facebook page, they know that shit is illegal. Stop it. Niggas want attention so much they're willing to risk their freedom for it. Women out here sitting up here talking about how much weed they smoke and how they need a blunt, but on your Facebook pictures and all that shit, we see you with your kids. That is CPS waiting to come and scoop your kids up and leave your black ass looking confused. And how they knew you smoke weed? Well, because your dumb ass put it on the internet. There's facial recognition technology on Facebook that they use to be able to track your face to your driver's license, to your address, to your job, and to how many kids you got through the medical records. Stop putting illegal shit on the internet for attention, niggas. Cut that shit out. That shit is long gone. Attention is the worst form of communication a black person who's committing a crime can receive. The point of committing a crime is not to get attention for it, but to get away with it through secrecy. Dumbasses. That shit is not gangster. That shit is not OG. That shit is just strictly retarded. And even the people who are offering to buy the EBT stamp for sale, you are committing a federal offense. Stop it. Don't even inbox the niggas. Because just because you didn't reply on their timeline in the reply section, you mean that you telling me that you think if you put it in their inbox that they can't read that shit? Attention has always been one of the biggest deficit in black society, because we always seek the attention of white people. We always sought to be seen as human beings and equal to everybody on this earth. And so when the new technology age came around, we were doing stupid shit in order to seek attention. And that's why every fight, everything on fucking World Star Hip Hop, you no matter how dangerous or tragic or funny it is, it's black people doing dumb shit for attention. How black people sitting up here, a police officer, uh, beating the shit out of a black man, but yet black men are standing around with their cameras recording it. That is not the proper way to handle business. You turn all those cameras off, and whatever happens after that is your word against the police officer on why the fuck his whole body is bloodied up. Turn those cameras off, niggas. If you're in the middle of finna defend something that may be seen as a crime, or you in the middle of something that is a crime, turn them cameras off, and any black person standing around with a camera record any activity that you personally may deem is breaking the law. You knock that shit out their hand, or you tell them to turn that shit off. We in the age of snitching on yourself. After September 11th, that is what the federal government has done. Put in place a system where they can spy on you without justification and reason. Even hear your phone calls. Niggas better get on a code. That is the one thing black people are like, is a code. A code of conduct. We need a code of conduct in black society on how to act in certain situations in order for us to be uniformly united across this nation and then eventually across this world. White people live by a code every day. They even got code words. People of color. Inner city. Thug means nigger. Riot means black people acting stupid. Protest and celebration and young kids acting wild is a form of white people rioting. But they don't use the same words for us that they do for them. So today in 2017, all the way back to 2012, and probably before, definitely before then, we got the murder and the killing with the impunity of young black men, women, and children in the streets of this country without retribution or retaliation or the system of justice working in the favor of those who were killed and murdered. This is the new Ku Klux Klan slave patrol to keep niggas in line, to continue to instill fear in the hearts of black people. That is what that is always about. That's what it's always been about. And it will continue to be like that until we find a way to stop that shit from happening. They take your tax money to pay for the police that is paid to kill you. If that shit is not a conundrum, I don't know what is. So I don't. A lot of things that I got, a lot of food that I buy, and a lot of things that I do, I get from black-owned businesses. I purposely seek out the businesses of black people so I can patronize them. And when I get there, I tell them why I'm doing it. Because we all we got. So if you white people out there who may come across this video and who listening now, feel that I have any sort of hate in my heart towards you, I want to tell you that you're wrong, because my heart has no room for hate. My heart is filled with the spirit of revolutionary vengeance that is owed to you, to the Arab, and to the Asian for the oppression of my people around the world. I have no hate. I just have vengeance in my heart to do what is ever necessary to dismantle this system of white supremacy. That is it. I don't have time to hate anybody. Hate is a taking away of my energy, but vengeance is an increase in my energy. Vengeance gives me a purpose. Vengeance shows me that the direction that my life should go so that I can provide for my family. Vengeance is what I use to get up every day and go to a job that don't pay me enough on what I know and don't pay me what I feel I deserve to get through that day because I know that in the long run I'm doing it for something else. And that is to dismantle the system of racism and white supremacy wherever on this earth I shall find it. And I will continue to do so to the day that I die or the day that I'm assassinated. And thank you, brothers and sisters. This has been Breakfast with Blackness.